Hey guys, so today we're going to be in Matthew 20, and you're going to be in verses 20 through 34. So go ahead and give those a read, and then we'll talk about it. You know, it's no secret that mothers love their son. Being an only child, I guess I got all of my mom's attention, but if she has multiple sons, she just, thinks the world of both of her sons. A lot of times the mom thinks the sons have hung the stars and the moon in the place. And, there's a reason the phrase mama's boy exists. It's just a very special relationship between mother and son. However, it appears that the disciples, James and John's mother, thought that their son should not only have hung the moon and stars, but it appears that they think that they should have the greatest positions that exist within the universe. She goes to Jesus and says, "Put my sons at your right and left hand." And so these would have been positions of authority. These would have been positions of power, of respect. And so even worse than her asking this, when Jesus calls her out on this prideful and arrogant request, the sons go right along with it. Jesus asks, can you drink of the cup that I'm drinking? Can you be at my level? And the sons are like, "Oh yeah, we can do that. Totally. Yeah, put us at your right and left, and we'll be right there with you all along the way." And I'm sure Jesus, once again, as he's probably done several times now, he's face palming. He essentially says, you do not know what you're requesting, and you do not know what you're saying when you say you can drink of my cup. But you will indeed at least get a little taste of it, because you will suffer for my name. Of course, they wouldn't be the ones hanging on the cross. They weren't the ones who lived a sinless life in order to be the redemption of man. And they wouldn't be put to death like he was, and they wouldn't be separated from the Father because of the sin that he took on, like Jesus was. So they would only get a taste of the cup, but suffer they would. And after this, the rest of the disciples are outraged at these two brothers. Who do they think they are, going to Jesus and saying that they can be like him? And how dare they think? It's highly offensive to the disciples that the brothers thinks they deserve more than the other 12 such a valued, such a highly sought after position in Jesus' kingdom. Yet I would imagine that these disciples had secretly thought the same thing before. If you remember back just a few chapters before this, all the disciples were sitting around and they were all asking to themselves, who will be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Now remember Jesus' answer. Instead of answering them directly, he pulls a child to himself, one of the nearby children. He uses them as an example to humble the disciples. He points towards the child and says, only the one who has faith like this child will be great in the kingdom of heaven. And now Jesus teaches that those with a servant's heart, those who are humble, are the ones that are given positions of authority and greatness in heaven. And kind of a big takeaway from this is that the heart of a servant and humility are not just something that you can wake up and will upon yourself one day. You can't just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm going to be the most humble person alive today. I'm going to be the most, serving servant ever today. So that way God will love me and God will acknowledge me and I'll be the greatest Christian in his kingdom." That's not the way that humility works. That's not the way the servant's heart works. If you were to do those things, that would just display a heart of pride. To say that I'm the most humble person alive is a prideful statement. And, if you're just using serving others as a way to gain stature or authority or to be looked upon as great among your peers or by God, then that's not real serving. That's just using quote-unquote serving as a means to an end, as a way to get something else you want. And so the true humble person, doesn't look at themselves as greater than they should be. And the true servant serves because they want to show the same love that Christ showed them to other people around them. And so, I think we live in a day and age where A lot of times helping others is used for personal gain. It's used on social media platforms, handing 20 bucks to a homeless person, and then that brings in ad revenue that gets the creator thousands of dollars. So, that $20 doesn't seem so much anymore when they're using it to get themselves even greater things. So we've got to really be careful. The Bible tells us that as we do good for others, as we serve, as we show humility, we're not supposed to do it for the recognition of others, because if others recognize, if they see it, and if they praise it, especially when we've made it in such a way where we're showing off how good we are to other people, the Bible tells us then we have already received our reward. We've received the recognition and the admiration of our peers. But if we do it and we don't try to be flashy about it, we don't try to do it out in the open where others can see, we don't go about bragging about it to other people, then that's when Jesus says we'll be great in heaven. And that's when Jesus says the Father will reward us greatly.